Religion is humanity's oldest form of storytelling. It began as a way to explain the unexplainable, to make sense of storms, disease, and death. Over time, some of these stories became codified into sacred truth, and humans, with all their creativity and fear, kept adding layer upon layer. What remains is a collection of beliefs so imaginative, so improbable, that when looked at closely, they can feel almost laughable. Not because people believed them, but because we now see how far imagination can stretch when fear and hope meet. Consider the story of a man swallowed by a sea creature who survives 3 days inside without oxygen, food, or water. In the literal sense, it defies everything biology tells us. Yet it is treated as a miracle, a divine sign, an example of faith rewarded. In a world governed by physics, it reads more like a survival story dreamed up by someone with an overactive imagination than a historical event. Or take the idea that the sun could stop in the sky for a man to win a battle. If the Earth truly froze mid-rotation, the oceans would surge, the atmosphere would tear apart, and life as we know it would end. But somehow, the narrative claims the sun paused only for one man's convenience. Miracles are convenient, selective, and often impossible. Humans have long believed that words have the power to shape reality. Chant a mantra enough times, and the universe will respond. Spin around, light candles, burn incense, recite names in precise order, and suddenly, invisible forces are at work. The intention is sincere, but the logic is human imagination given cosmic authority. It's a system where faith replaces evidence, repetition replaces action, and ritual becomes proof. Many religions have assigned morality to supernatural consequences that stretch common sense. Eat the wrong fruit, and all of humanity suffers. Fail to bow, and invisible beings are offended. Harm no one, but break a tiny rule, and eternity itself will punish you. The literal reading of such beliefs reads like a cosmic bureaucrat who micromanages billions of lives based on trivial compliance. Some ideas extend into the animal kingdom. Snakes, cows, monkeys, or other creatures are venerated as gods or carriers of divine energy. Feeding, washing, and decorating them are treated as acts of devotion. It's a poetic reflection of the reverence for life, but it also becomes absurd when the most basic understanding of biology or nutrition is ignored in favor of symbolic gesture. The devotion itself is unquestionable, but the logic supporting it can be baffling. Then there's the manipulation of the human body. Starving oneself to prove spiritual commitment, enduring pain, or physically restraining oneself in impossible positions has been promoted as the highest form of piety. It's devotion measured in suffering, proof of faith, rather than understanding. Pain becomes currency. Obedience becomes the goal, not wisdom. Some beliefs demand bribes to unseen powers. Pour milk over a statue, toss coins into a river, leave offerings on an altar. Invisible beings are expected to accept them, reward the giver, and maintain cosmic balance. It's ritualized negotiation with forces that, by every definition, should not require human intervention. Logic bends to hope, hope bends to ritual, and ritual becomes sacred performance. Astrology provides another window into human imagination, the idea that the positions of distant stars and planets can dictate love, success, or survival is an ancient attempt to map chaos. People plan weddings, business deals, and even medical decisions based on cosmic geometry. The appeal is obvious. If life feels uncontrollable, believing in predictive patterns offers comfort. The reality is that coincidence gets dressed in elaborate symbolism and called divine guidance. Beliefs about purity show a similar tension between observation and superstition. Certain times, foods or bodily functions are deemed unclean, requiring ritual cleansing. Natural biology, hunger, or basic hygiene are overshadowed by mystical rules. Human fear of the unknown becomes codified into systems that demand obedience rather than understanding. Prayer itself is another fascinating paradox. Billions ask for interventions, often contradictory ones, with no mechanism beyond faith. If the prayer works, it's a miracle. If it fails, it's divine will. Belief shapes interpretation, not reality. It's a system where results are irrelevant because the framework is unfalsifiable, unchallengeable, self-reinforcing. Stories of divine intervention often involve acts that bend reality in improbable ways, walking on water, turning water into wine, healing the sick with a touch. These stories are not just miracles, they are statements about the human desire for hope in impossible situations. Taken literally, they are improbable. Taken symbolically, they reflect a timeless human yearning to influence life beyond what is physically possible. Religious narratives often feature hierarchical rules enforced by supernatural consequence. Disobey a law, and cosmic punishment awaits. Follow it, and eternal reward is promised. The logic of these systems assumes omniscient enforcement, moral perfection in divine judgment, and perfect alignment with human interpretation, a combination that would challenge even the most sophisticated judicial system to execute consistently. Other beliefs assign morality to causality in ways that defy probability. Misfortune is the result of personal failure, curses, or disfavor. Success is rewarded by divine approval. Random events are explained by invisible forces acting in secret. It is a system designed to make sense of randomness, but it often replaces reasoning with fear and explanation with superstition. The idea of rebirth or reincarnation offers a cosmic scoreboard. Actions in this life dictate the next. Morality is tied to consequences that may not manifest for decades or centuries. The mechanism is invisible, unverifiable, yet deeply influential. Humans have long preferred an imaginative ledger of cosmic justice to the unpredictability of the universe. Miracles often serve social purposes beyond spiritual belief. Healings, visions, or divine encounters are frequently used to consolidate power, unify communities, or inspire obedience. What begins as inspiration becomes ritualized proof, and proof becomes dogma. Humanity's ability to turn storytelling into law is remarkable, but it also reveals the tension between imagination and reality. Even modern practices often retain echoes of these ancient ideas. Dietary rules, ceremonial washing, ritualized festivals, and offerings remain embedded in culture. Their origins may have been logical in historical context, but continued literal interpretation produces scenarios that appear odd, improbable, or comical in modern eyes. It's worth noting that the funny side of these beliefs isn't mockery of faith. It's recognition of human imagination and the lengths we will go to make sense of existence. When fear and curiosity intersect, the mind invents elaborate systems. When those inventions are codified as sacred, they gain authority beyond reason. The most fascinating aspect is not that humans believed in walking on water or talking animals, but that these beliefs persist, evolve, and shape behavior millennia later. They reveal a deep need for meaning, a yearning for control in a world governed by chaos, and a desire to interact with forces far beyond our comprehension. Belief in improbable stories has influenced law, ethics, art, and governance. It has inspired generosity, creativity, and devotion. But it has also justified fear, inequality, and blind obedience. When the miraculous is taken literally, logic bends. When it is understood symbolically, humanity's imagination shines. Religion is, at its core, an extraordinary testament to human creativity. The funniest or most improbable beliefs are simply evidence of our species' ability to imagine what cannot be observed, to give stories weight, and to transform hope into ritual. Observed critically, they reveal more about human psychology than cosmic truth. And that is why the strangest beliefs are not just entertaining, they are instructive. They show the patterns of imagination, the habits of fear, and the enduring human desire to find order, meaning, and comfort in the universe. Stories that once seemed miraculous now appear improbable, but their influence is undeniable. The human mind has always been its own kind of miracle, capable of creating gods, rules, and rituals from nothing but curiosity and fear.